Hi there, it's Louise with you of Timeless Craft Mama, and I'd like to welcome you to our July challenge for Scrapbook Boutique. And this month we have this fabulous turquoise mood board, and I'm going to share a layout of the ways that I was inspired. So the first thing I did was pulled out some elements from my stash, and I thought that this wildflower collection from Kaisercraft would be perfect because it's kind of got that turquoise and neutral palette. So I really wanted to soften the colours of the mood board and just use them in a bit of a different way to show you that when you are taking inspiration from a mood board, you don't have to be exact with the colours. You can take inspiration from so many different areas. Now, the photo I've chosen is what I called an oldie but a goodie, and it's of my bestie and I, and it's from about 2010. So I chose it because the mood board has a very feminine feel to it, and I thought that the photo of us together would be really perfect. Now, while I'm going through my stash, I'm thinking about how the mood board has that fabulous Eiffel Tower theme going on, and I'm looking at some of my chipboard stash and I'm going, okay, these chipboards sort of have that same feel to them. They're quite architectural, so that's sort of how I took inspiration from the mood board, was this feeling of that feminine sort of page, the turquoise neutral colour base, and the architectural elements. Now, I haven't prepped my page in any way. I've just left it as plain paper based, and I'm just going to use the Distress ink tumbled glass, and I'm just going to spread that around the page just to give that little sort of turquoise lighter. It looks quite blue in the video, but it's definitely got that really turquoise feel. And I am going to cover some of it up, but this is just to sort of break up that neutral background and add some background colour. Now, the next thing I've done is I've chosen a stencil, and because I'm making a feminine layout, I chose an old Kaisercraft stencil, which is the florals, and this is not one that I've used very often because I don't do a lot of feminine layouts, but certainly this one lent itself quite well to that feminine feel, and I have of course used the Colour Blast paste in Snow White just to again add background dimension and give me something to build on with my layers. Now, thinking again about how I want this page to look, I'm going to trim this photo, and I'm sort of going to have it starting behind that chipboard and then sort of flowing out from the back of the other side. And now that I'm happy with where the background is going, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need to emboss these chipboard pieces so I know exactly what I'm working with. And the colour I've chosen is Envy from Colour Blast, and heat set that to set the chipboard. Now, I am going to only give these chipboards one coat of the embossing powder, and that's just because I want them to look sort of quite raw and a little bit rustic and not particularly textured. So I'm going to finish that off camera, and I've just added a little piece of cardboard to the back of the photo there just to prop up one side that's going to be sort of looking like it's coming out the top of the photo. The top of the chipboard, and then I'm going to have the underside mounted beneath that chipboard. So, it mainly was to take out a distracting element in the background of the photo, but certainly I really like the final effect of how this one's come together. Now, I wanted to add a little bit of extra glisten to that chipboard, and what I've done is just taken some of that Snow White paste and I'm just spreading it around with my finger, and when that dries it's actually clear, but it has this beautiful shimmery finish to the final product. So you sort of, in the final pictures of the layout, you'll get to see how that chipboard has that lovely sort of almost like a very light glitter. Now, on the back of those smaller chipboards, I'm just mounting some paper in the coordinating range from Kaisercraft, so that's the wildflower range, and that's just again so that those little chipboards don't get lost in what's happening in the background. So I'm sort of looking at this page now and thinking, okay, it's coming together quite nicely. I've got a little bit of mixed media in the background with some colour, some ink, some paste. I've got these fabulous chipboards that I've embossed, lovely papers from Kaisercraft, and I'm thinking, okay, what's going to make this layout better? And again, back to the sort of the feminine type layout, which I don't do very often, a perfect excuse for me to be able to use some of the florals from my stash. So I'm going to add some flowers from 49 Market and from Kaisercraft as well, and that's going to just elevate that page a little bit more. Now, it was in the background missing just a little bit of splatter, and I didn't want to go with my typical black background splatter, so I'm using the Distress Oxide inks and just my water pen to go ahead and add a little bit of splatter to the background. Letting that dry naturally has that lovely sort of matte finish, and off camera I've gone ahead and glued most of the elements down using my hot glue gun, and finally just going to add some cotton elements around the clusters, and I'm going to just add a couple little stickers and leaves and sort of collectibles and little bits and pieces here and there. So we hope you love the mood board this month, and I hope you've gotten some inspiration from watching me create my inspiration page. It certainly was fun to get out some of my feminine elements and create a page a little bit different to what I normally would. I'm going to title this layout Bestie with some old stickers from my stash, and I'm all done for this month's challenge. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and of course check out Scrapbook Boutique for items used in this video. Thanks for watching.